10 matches that pushed wrestlers to that main event spot. At number 10, we have Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit taking on two-man power trip, Triple H and Steve Austin for the tag team titles. Now, Chris Benoit debuted in 2000, the year before, with the Radicals four-man group, broke out of that. You see, he did a lot of stuff with The Rock in his first year, and he had Shane McMahon in his corner. And on the other hand, Chris Jericho was feuding with guys like Kurt Angle and Triple H, who were 100% top 10 talent guys at that time. Eventually, Chris Jericho and Benoit end up having these matches. They have a ladder match, a 2 out of 3 falls match, Extreme Rules matches at SummerSlam. And they put on such classic matches that you could tell the company was like, these guys do good against each other. Let's see what they do together. So we fast forward 2001. They are taking on Trips and Steve Austin. It's an amazing match. Very physical. This is also the famous match where Triple H tears his quad. So luckily they were going to win the tag titles anyways, which they did. But it definitely pushed them to main event status. You see Jericho here in that same year was the undisputed champion. And Benoit, a few years after, won the World Heavyweight Championship. And this match definitely helped them achieve that feat. Up next, we have Randy Orton defending the IC title against Mick Foley at Backlash in a hardcore match. Now, Randy Orton was a kid in Evolution, so he didn't really prove himself. Triple H was kind of just taking him under his wing. So it was looked at as Randy couldn't really do anything on his own and was just under the finger of Triple H. Until they start a rivalry with Mick Foley and Randy Orton. This is where the whole legend killer thing started. This match was absolutely insane. Randy putting barbed wire in Cactus's face, smashing him on this freaking barbed wire piece of plywood, RKOing him. But, he was giving it right back to Randy Orton. It's also where this famous tax in his back came from. Goes for the RKO, lands on the tax. But Randy ended up being victorious in the end. And it really just proved that this guy could do it all. He could hold him for himself. He didn't need anybody's help. He's a tough guy. And Randy Orton is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time now. At number 8, we have Edge taking on John Cena at New Year's Revolution. Now, as you guys know, Edge started basically his first 5 years, Edge and Christian. They were a tag team. They won so many matches together, so many tables, ladders, and chairs match. And it's always hard for a guy to get out of the tag team. So we make it to 2002. Edge just starts having these incredible matches with guys like Eddie Guerrero on SmackDown and hardcore matches, taking on guys like Brock Lesnar. You even see here that he teamed with guys like Hulk Hogan. But he could never make it into the world title picture until 2005. You see, he wins the Money in the Bank contract here. And we make it to the match now. You see Cena getting his ass kicked. Sweet chin music. He's in the ankle lock by Kurt Angle. Chris Masters and Carlito are just beating him down. Cena ends up winning the match, retaining his title. You see how exhausted he is here. So Edge figures, you know what? That would be an amazing time to cash in Money in the Bank. And sure enough, that's what he did to John Cena. He cashed in on him, won his first WWE Championship, and pretty much the rest is history from there. Next, we have the 2006 Royal Rumble with Rey Mysterio. Now again, Rey Mysterio was there in 2002, having matches, incredible matches with guys like Kurt Angle, the American Badass, The Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, even going against giants like The Big Show. Rey Mysterio was going against every freaking giant guy there was. So we finally make it to the Royal Rumble, where Rey Mysterio enters the match at number 1. He was kind of paying a tribute to his friend that just died a few months ago, Eddie Guerrero. You see Rey Mysterio, he's just getting his ass kicked in so much of this match. But we end up making it to the end where he head scissors Randy Orton out, and he wins the match. He was very emotional, pointing to the sky, pretty much telling Eddie that he did it for him, and it was just a great moment. And Rey Mysterio ended up winning the title at that year's Mania, and many more from where that came from. And I think this Royal Rumble proved his doubters wrong. Up next, we have Payback 2020, where The Fiend defends against Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns in a triple threat. Now, you remember Roman Reigns wins the 2015 Royal Rumble, booed out of the building, goes against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 34, booed out of the building, defeats The Undertaker at WrestleMania. No one cares, and that's what made it so hard. So Reigns finally made a return in 2020 through the pandemic. Strowman and The Fiend were having a match, beat the living hell out of each other. Reigns signs the contract halfway through, and he just beats the hell out of them, spears them, beats them with chairs, and that's where he wins his first Universal, not first, but wins the Universal Championship and holds it for over 1,400 days. And Reigns basically became the greatest of all time. He beat guys like Cena, Edge and Daniel Bryan, Brock Lesnar, Undertaker. Roman has beaten every great that there possibly is in the industry. At number 5, we have CM Punk versus John Cena for the WWE Championship. Now, this one's a little different. CM Punk was the ECW champion in 2007. In 2008, he won his first world championship. Even 2009, he went in with a championship quite a bit. And then even in 2010, he had his own faction. But Punk just wanted to be the best wrestler. It wasn't about championships. So we made it to Money in the Bank 2011. CM Punk wins. He's going to leave without the championship. Or he's going to leave with it, leave the company. Good storytelling. But this match was like a 40-minute match. And these guys just had one of the best matches in WWE history, to be honest with you. So many close falls, so much on the line. Vince said he'd fire Cena if Punk lost, or if Cena lost. Sure enough, Punk won. You see him blowing the kiss here. And he held that title for 434 days. And, he just turned into one of the biggest stars of all time. CM Punk, one of the most popular wrestlers, one of the best in-ring wrestlers, and just one of the most popular wrestlers in the world. Up next, we have Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes, Hell in a Cell. Now, Cody was in the company for years. He started mainly with Legacy in 2009 with Randy Orton. 2010, he won some titles with Drew. 2011 and 12, he held the IC title for a long time. And then around the end of 2013, he became Stardust, which was like gold dust. He didn't like it. Creative wanted him to do it. And he ended up leaving the company and returned several years later. And he ends up having this match with Seth Rollins in Hell in a Cell. You see, he takes his coat off, black and blue, torn pec. These guys have one of the best matches ever. He's basically out one arm. You see how physical it is, through tables and everything. Him pushing the kendo stick on Cody's pec. It was just crazy. I think he proved he was a tough guy. He had the passion. And he ended up winning the championship from Roman Reigns at this year's WrestleMania. And I think that match really helped him get to that place and prove his doubters wrong. At number 3, we have John Cena defending the WWE title against Daniel Bryan. Now, Daniel started in NXT in 2010. He had a really great year, made it to the roster, won the U.S. title, had this match against Dolph Ziggler. This was also a good match, but that's just a side match. In 2011, he wins the Money in the Bank contract and successfully cashes it in on the Big Show. But, after that, Daniel was kind of just around. He did a lot of tag stuff with Kane. But this match at SummerSlam really made it. John Cena handpicked him to go against him. These guys had, like, a 5-star match. Again, very close calls. Daniel Bryan, the underdog. Cena's always won every match. So, There was a lot of doubt there, but surprisingly, in the end, Daniel Bryan does the running knee, knees Cena in the face, wins the title. Now, I know he lost it afterwards, right after, but that match made it where he had an amazing rivalry with Triple H, Randy Orton, and the Authority. And we make it to this match at WrestleMania 30 where he just gets to have his big moment and makes himself one of the most popular wrestlers, even though he already was, but it just added to that greatness even more. Up next, we have The Undertaker defending the Undisputed Championship against Jeff Hardy in a ladder match. Now, in the late 90s, it was Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy, the Hardy Boys, with Lita. They won championships, feuded with Edge and Christian and the Dudleys. But again, you guys know it's always hard to get out of a tag team and start a singles career, which what happened on a random episode of 2002 Monday Night Raw. Undertaker challenges Jeff Hardy, literally beats the living shit out of him pretty much the entire match. But what made it is the Undertaker holding Jeff Hardy's arm up here afterwards, proving that he's a tough kid. He'll sacrifice anything. And a few years later, Hardy ended up winning several Intercontinental Championships. In 2008, he ended up winning the main WWE Championship and even won the World Championship in 2009. And I think a lot of the momentum is personally from that match. And finally, we have Steve Austin versus Bret Hart in a submission match at WrestleMania 13. Now, in 96, Stone Cold was kind of just going against any random wrestlers, no big names. You see here he has the $1 Million Championship because he was still with Ted DiBiase doing the ring general gimmick, which wasn't good. And then you see here, this is where he did the Austin 316 promo. Started getting a lot of momentum there, but you watch back at Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin rivalry, it was so freaking personal. And this submission match at WrestleMania was no different. They had Ken Shamrock to keep control as the ref. You see all these submissions, just them brawling with punches, chair shots on the head. This match was, absolutely insane. We make it to the end where Stone Cold is in the sharpshooter, and infamously he passes out, doesn't quit, and I think that really put him on the map. Because, then that next year's WrestleMania, he beat Shawn Michaels for the WWE title. You see he's got his custom smoking skull, the WWF title and the tag team, and just him here with the tag title at the end. I think that's really what made Stone Cold become one of the biggest stars ever seen in WWE.